That was Chris Magoo.
Well, a fantastic rendition of the national anthem thanks to our Phil's game staff employee Chris Magoo. And that will start us off as the fireworks explode in center field and the Fightins take the mound. We'll get ready for some baseball here at First Energy Stadium, game one, of course, of 6 against the Mets affiliate. Francisco Morales taking the mound, and he'll be caught by Rodolfo Duran today, who's been back in action since the Harrisburg series. Madison Stokes getting the start out in left, Gamboa in center, and Bonifacio in right. McCarthy Tatum over at the hot corner. Of course, Stott and Brito going to remain the middle infielders, and Luke Miller over at first.
Brought to you by Customers Bank. To officially get the game underway, please welcome Miles.
Some warm-up throws being taken by Morales as the sun starts to peek through here. The clouds are drifting down towards the mountains, and the lights are on here just because it could be a little overcast. Don't want to get any shade on the field that would impact the pace of play. And starting things off for the Rumble Ponies is going to be Carlos Cortez, followed by Nick Mayer and Quinn Brody. Mark Vientos is the number 4 hitter. Will Toffee, Luis Carpio, and Jake Mangum, followed by Manny Rodriguez, and of course the pitcher, Josh Walker. With this matchup, the pitchers will continue to bat, which I think has been very eventful and more productive on the Fightin sides, with a couple of their pitchers notching, really solid base hits. Of course, James MacArthur and Jack Perkins comes to mind. Perkins had a home run last series. He had a triple in his at-bat before. So I think that has been actually really one of the most successful parts for the Fightins, is that spot is not an automatic out at all in any way, shape, or form, and that's been, really successful when you get to the pitcher's bat. Sometimes you think, oh, okay, here's an out, but they've let the pitchers bat even when they knew they were coming out in the next half inning, and we'll see how that impacts the game tonight as Morales' warm-up pitches are done. It's 66 degrees here in Reading, and wind, of course, blowing out left to right. Check the miles per hour. They say 13 miles per hour here at the ballpark. And bending over is Morales. And there's some sort of delay as the bullpen guys are figuring out their chair setup over for the Rumble Ponies. Morales, glove over the head. He takes a deep breath, and he kicks and fires home. The righty's first pitch to Carlos Cortez comes in at 7:06 p.m., a called strike, so a perfect way to start things off here at First Energy Stadium. And of course the shift is on for the lefty batter Cortez, and he takes a ball downstairs. Bryson Stott shaded, a couple feet to the right of second, and over at shortstop is McCarthy Tatum guarding the left side of the infield. Here's the 1-1 now for Morales, and it's sent the other way by Cortez. It ropes foul and into the left field picnic area. It'll be 1-2 as Morales gets it ahead. Francisco leads the team in strikeouts. He has 33 on the season in just 22 innings pitched, and he's looking for his first win of the season tonight. He'll come home now with the 1-2. And this one driven up, and it beats the shift. And when I say that, I don't mean he went the opposite way. He went right between Daniel Brito and Bryson Stott, unfortunately, on the right side of the infield. And we'll start things off with a base hit from Carlos Cortez for Nick Mayer with nobody out in the top of the first. Mayer, an interesting fun fact about him is that when he was a child, he was born with 2 left thumbs, a condition called preaxial polydactyl, or thumb duplication, as the pickoff attempt comes over to first, and Cortez is safe. But when he was 2 years old, they removed his extra thumb, so he didn't have 6 fingers on one hand, and it left him without a knuckle, which can be tough because he can't really bend his left thumb all the way. The first pitch now coming into Mayer, and it's low for a ball. he seems to have adjusted well, as he's had a successful professional career here in Double-A with the Mets. And now Duran sets up on the inside of the plate. Mayer takes this one to shallow center field. Gamboa sprinting in, but it's going to be Brito who backs up and makes the catch in shallow right center for out number 1.
The right fielder, number 24, Quinn Brody.
Quinn Brody taking the next at bat. Played in Double-A before back in 2019. He's solid all-around player, both at the plate and in the field. So he gets the start and right. And the sun is really starting to peek through. It's turning into such a nice afternoon at the ballpark. And Morales' first offering to the left. He is just a little bit low. He hits 95 on the gun, which is pretty much where we've seen him this whole time, mid-90s, and he's able to hold that through a couple innings. We'll see how far he can get through. Taking a short lead off of first is Carlos Cortez. And the righty's going to come home. This time he gets the called strike. Lots of fans in attendance down in the ballpark on this Tuesday night. Lots of kids done school. And with the weather being such a beautiful day to sit outside, people thought, why not come to a ball game? Get a free t-shirt. Eat some hot dogs. This one bounced off the glove of Duran. Heading to second is Cortez. He looks like he's going to go to third, but he stops as Duran picks it up. And that'll be a wild pitch that sends Cortez over to second base. And, of course, a ball coming in to Quinn Brody. It's now 2-1. So Morales is going to set up on the first base side of the rubber. And he gets the sign now from Duran, who's squatting low. Morales looking back at second. Now he's going to come home with the 2-1. Swing and a miss as he ties up Brody on the inside. And he can't flip his hands over fast enough. It's a strike, 2-2. So one away here in the top of the first. And, of course, the Fightin's the home team, so they will bat second in today's contest. And now the 2-2 from Morales. Another wild pitch that gets away from Duran. And heading to third is Cortez. So 2 wild pitches puts him in scoring position, which is tough for the Fightin's. But we'll see if Morales can get this, strike him out here with a full count. The infield coming in, they're trying to preserve the run. And so that's what that means. They'd rather let the player get on to first and instead focus on preserving the tie ball game here at 0. The righty sets up. He looks home. And the payoff pitch. It's low, and that will walk Brody. So there's runners on the corners now with an out. So as all of you probably know, the situation going on with the, quote, sticky stuff in Major League Baseball, where, you know, for as long as anyone knows, pitchers have been, you know, combining stuff to help them get a better grip on the ball, which they say has been, you know, helpful for not hitting batters and for control and things like that. Nothing crazy. It's usually just sunscreen and the rosin bag that's already allowed to be used, or some other mixtures of sticky stuff, and that is now being banned by MLB. It's a 10-game suspension if they find that on you during a game. As Morales sends one to Vientos, it's a called strike. And it started in the major leagues. We saw this week they checked Jacob deGrom, interesting Mets connection, and of course one of the star pitcher in baseball right now was clean, and they checked him after the first inning, and he was fine, then came in and threw 5 scoreless innings. As heading to second is Brody. Duran drops the ball, so he goes to pump the throw. They're going to give that a stolen base, because I'm not positive that Duran would have thrown down either way with a runner on third. You definitely want to be careful of that. So now there's 2 runners in scoring position with 1 out. Anyways, the point I'm trying to make is that they're going to be testing for that here in minor league baseball as well. There have already been 4 players in the minor leagues suspended for use of a foreign substance. That was back on June 2nd. In the White Sox organization and 2 other organizations. They're going to be testing starters and relievers, or not like testing, but the umpires will go over and check, probably their hat, their glove, for any type of foreign substance, and if they're good, they're good, and if they're not, I guess we'll find out exactly how that goes down. So I think everybody's pretty much been warned at this point. I know people have mixed feelings on the subject, and not going to get into opinions here as Vientos goes down swinging. A big strikeout pickup for Francisco Morales, and now Will Toffey heads up to the dish. But we'll see how that, if it does at all, affect any of the games in the near future. The sun is now overhead here at the ballpark. The clouds are being burned through, and the infield back deep here to Will Toffey. The first offering from Morales, it's outside. Group area is nice and full today, especially over in the pool and the 67 club out in the dugout suite as well, which is that area right up on the field, right by first base. Morales settling in up on the mound, and here's the 1-0. Swing and a miss, 95. Gets a strike out of Will Toffey, who's coming into this game batting only .176, just 13 hits on the season. And Toffey, part of a big trade that brought him onto this Mets team. He was initially drafted by the A's, and he'll send this one right into the glove of Daniel Brito. A diving line drive grab by Daniel Brito, the Gold Glover over there at second, and that will retire the Binghamton Rumble Ponies as they strand 2 on the base pass. We'll head into the bottom of the first with no score. Well, back in action here in the bottom of the first, Francisco Morales gave up a hit and a walk, but he stranded runners on the corners, and so Binghamton failed to score in the top of the first. The Fightins are going to come up and try to give him some run support and see what they can do. Cortez out and left defensively, Mangum in center, and Brody in right field. Vientos over at the hot corner, Rodriguez and Carpio in the middle infield, and Toffey over at first, and of course Nick Mayer behind the plate. Daniel Brito is going to start things off. Of course, he'll be followed by Bryson Stott and Jorge Monafacio. Madison Stokes getting that cleanup spot for the 2nd day in a row. Rodolfo Duran, Luke Miller, McCarthy Tatum, and Archimedes Gamboa in those 6, 7, 8 spots, and Francisco Morales rounding out the top 9. Daniel Brito takes the first pitch from Josh Walker, and it's a ball. Walker 6'6", 225 out on the mound, standing tall, and he's a local guy for the Mets out of Slate Hill, New York, which I'm told is not very far from Binghamton, which is nice to be a local guy and support your hometown team. Brito drives this one up to first base. Toffey's there to make the play unassisted, and that's out number 1.
Number 6, Bryson Stott.
Here's Bryson Stott, who had a homer on Father's Day after homering on Mother's Day. He said he was nice to have one for each of his parents, and we'll see how he is able to fare now against the Mets affiliate. Wondering if there are any Mets fans out in the crowd today. I don't really see any jerseys, which is a good thing. Lots of Phillies fans here around. And Stott takes a called strike. Chases one upstairs, 90 off the hands of Walker, and he's down 0-2. There's a gap if he can poke it the other way between second and third. Here's the offering, And he tries to, but goes too far as it's foul. Fightin's have an actual bat boy tonight. That's Adam down there sitting beside the dugout instead of a player functioning as the bat boy. Stott fouls it off again, this time into the 67 club. And so it'll remain 0-2. Sean Williams, the third base coach's box right now, near Luis Martinez over at first. And here's the pitch from Walker as Stott goes down swinging. There's 2 outs now for Jorge Bonifacio. Bonifacio and Luke Miller in a chase here for the top home runs for the Fightins. They both knocked in 7 on the same day, and then the next day Luke Miller follows up with his 8th of the season. But Bonifacio leading in RBIs with 23, so we'll see as they continue to battle it out this season. That should be fun to watch. Bonifacio takes a called strike. 2 outs here in the bottom of the fourth. Bottom of the first, and we're scoreless as Bonifacio foul tips one back behind home plate, and it's quickly 0-2. Infield back deep here against Bonifacio. Up the middle's pretty clear. And here's the 0-2 from the lefty. It's way inside. Walker takes a step back. Now he kicks and fires home. It's low. He checked his swing, but he didn't go, says Jimenez down the line at first. And Bonifacio has worked his way back to a 2-2 count. Lots of free agent signings by either team in 2020 and 21. Bonifacio sends this one deep to center field. Going back, Mangum. And at the warning track in front of Unique Pretzel sign, he makes the grab for out number 3 here as the Fightins go down in order. And we'll be back shortly with the top of the second, where the score is still tied at 0. Today, Pam?
It's going great. We're glad to see everyone come out and support our Strike the Stigma event.
They're out here sponsoring tonight's Our Phil's game as Luis Carpio fouls one back from Morales. It's a 1-1 count. So you guys have some tables downstairs where you're kind of showcasing what the services you have to offer. Can you explain what you guys have got going on here at the ballpark?
Well, really tonight what we're trying to make sure everyone knows about is our Are You OK? Suicide Prevention Task Force. So we have lots of information with how to get in touch with people that can help you if you know someone that you're concerned about, or if you're a person who is having some troubles, so that you can get to the right place, because there's definitely help there for you.
And if you had to, give one message out to people who are listening who might be dealing with some mental health issues, what would that kind of be?
Well, especially now more than ever, there's definitely help readily available. If you're afraid to talk to people in person, you can call someone. We can get you hooked up with service. We can send someone out to see you. Our basic message, Are You OK? We want you to make sure that if there's someone that you know or see, it's a simple question. Just ask someone, how are you doing? What can I do? You look like you're struggling a little bit. So just those couple words can make a huge difference in someone's life.
Oh, definitely, 100%. As Carpio singles over to right field, we'll see Jake Mangum up at the plate right now with nobody else. I know it can be, like you guys are preaching here, that there's such a stigma behind it sometimes, and I think it's very apt that we're talking about this at a sporting game, because we've seen a lot of players, professional athletes now coming out saying, they've had trouble with their mental health, they're, comfortable. Simone Biles just came out saying she sees a therapist, things of that nature. And do you think that kind of thing is helping people get more comfortable talking about it?
It definitely helps. I think it shows shows, you're not different. Just because you're struggling doesn't make you different than your neighbor or your professional sports person. Everybody has issues, and it's okay to ask for help.
And how about, what are types of things that people can do to help themselves that might, want to take this on their own, or think that they can't talk about it with someone else? Are there ways that they can kind of help themselves if they're less comfortable about it?
Sure, there's lots of coping strategies, the meditation. There's lots of, right now, especially with technology, there's lots of apps that you can use for people that are suffering from anxiety. Again, there's lots of resources that you can call into. There's national suicide prevention hotlines. There's our local number. There's definitely lots of things that you're easily at your fingertips.
That's great to hear as Mangum pops this one over to left field. It's caught by Stokes, and that'll be out number 1 as Carpio can advance for Manny Rodriguez. So how did you get involved with working with, the Berks County side of mental health, and then with the Are You OK program?
So honestly, one of my first jobs right out of college was I was a second shift crisis intervention worker.
Wow.
And sort of learned a lot in that job, and have kind of worked in different positions, have come back and forth into the mental health and developmental disabilities programs a couple times. And we didn't have suicide prevention task force when I started a long time ago, so it's great that we have it now, and it's something that we're trying to involve the community in, because it's a national, it's a healthcare crisis.
Well, for sure, I can't imagine with the pandemic too, that kind of adds a whole other layer of things going on.
Sure does.
Manny Rodriguez doubles out to right field. Bonifacio jumping at the wall, but he can't make the grab, and coming over to third is Carpio. So right now, Morales in another jam. There's only 1 out, and the pitcher Josh Walker is at the plate with 2 runners in scoring position. Walker hasn't had an at-bat yet this season, so we will see what he can do right now. So what is the way that people can go on to, Are You OK, and try to find these resources?
So you can go to our website, the Are You OK website. You can call our SAM crisis number, which is 610-236-0530. And there's a couple different ways, again, that you can access service. You can text, you can go to the website, you can call, and depending on your level of comfort, one of the things that we always like to do is we'd like to see people in person, but for some people that's something that we have to work up to. So again, you can start in whatever way that you want, whatever you're most comfortable with, and whoever answers is going to work with you to try to figure out how to get you what you need.
That's great that you can kind of take small steps, because not everyone's ready for that big step, so maybe you kind of tackle it from a different angle.
Sure, and especially with younger people, they're not always as comfortable with in person, so texting, starting to have a conversation sometimes is easier going, at least in the beginning.
This one's chopped foul off the bat of Walker, and it's 1-2 now in the count. That's good that you guys have different ways that you can provide help to people, because not everyone can always be so receptive to help, but also everyone takes things differently. It seems like you guys can really cater to the individual's needs.
Sure, and of course the other thing is doing public events like this one tonight, and really trying to get the word out there. Lots of people that are on our task force represent all different areas of interest and why it is that they participate in our task force. So we've got some great representation. We're always offering other kinds of trainings to like churches and other community groups, because you never know when you're gonna deal with the situation, who could be a friend or a family member, another church member. So we want to make sure people that are comfortable and they know how to get help.
That makes sense to me. As the infield comes in here, they're trying to preserve the run. It's still tied, and Walker swings late to a changeup from Morales, and the count's going to stay at 2-2 with 2 runners in scoring position. So this is your 5th annual Strikeout the Sigma event at the ballpark. Can you tell me about some changes that you guys might have made over the past few years to kind of keep up more to date with the ever-changing world?
Yeah,
or is it kind of more the same kind of process?
I think the process is the same, but again, how we're trying to reach people is different. We have the texting service, for example, is a newer service over the last couple of years. And, you know, now it's even gone beyond texting where the crisis workers that are talking with people can invite them into a chat, a video chat. So, you know, as technology changes, I'm sure that that will continue to change in terms of how we try to engage people or people who may struggle with, you know, that first conversation that they're having.
And Walker's called down on strike, so there's 2 outs now for Morales with 2 runners on, and we're back to the top of the order with Carlos Cortez. Yeah, that definitely makes a lot of sense to me with all, you know, the Zoom and the FaceTime being such a big part. I like that you guys are kind of incorporating some, you know, quote, millennial type of ways to help people, you know, get through what they're going through.
Yeah, and over the years, I mean, services have changed. So peer-supported services, people who've walked in the same shoes, who've had the same experience, that's a service now that's available. So again, it may be another way to bridge someone who had some apprehension about, you know, talking about their illness before. We can get you involved with a peer service. So there's lots of great opportunities out there.
Cortez falls behind 0-2 now with 2 swinging strikes. Morales is a strike away from getting out of this inning cleanly. I really like that because sometimes people feel like they're the only one going through this, that nobody else feels the way that you feel. And in reality, you know, that's even though it seems like that, that's not quite the case. So it seems like you guys have come up with a way to kind of combat that.
Yeah, and peers, I mean, again, that instant connection, they also are a living, breathing example of hope that you know, you can have a mental illness and you can have a good, healthy, productive, happy life. Even though there'll be struggles, you know, it's there, and peers are able to offer that to you.
Well, it's very apt as Carlos Cortez strikes out now, and you're here trying to strike out the stigma. I appreciate having you on here and just getting to talk about this. This is a topic that's pretty important to me as well, so appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
All right, friends, feel free to check out RUOKBerks.com if you ever need any help. Thanks for your time.
15, Madison.
Well, Francisco Morales gets himself out of another jam. He's got 2 more runners in scoring position and he ends up striking out the next 2 batters. So while he's given up a couple of hits, he's gone clean 2 for 2 right now. And he stranded some runners on the base pass, so we'll see if Madison Stokes and Duran and Miller can help him out with some run support on the opposite side. As Stokes steps in, he chips on the first pitch. It's going to pop up in the infield. There's some sun in the way as the first baseman, Toffee, has trouble finding it. And eventually he sees it in the sun and catches it, so that's out number 1. But I love that Stokes is out there hustling because he notices that Toffee's got his glove in front of his eyes trying to block the sun. And so he's hustling. He's already at second when that catch is made, which is great credit to Madison Stokes there, you know, just grinding it out just in case. You love to see that hustle. Here's Rodolfo Duran. He's played in 3 games since he's returned from injury and has had a hit in all 3 of those games, 2 of them being for extra bases and a home run, of course. Squatting down in the righty batter's box, he chops a hot grounder over to third. Vientos high across the diamond. Duran is safe at first. He stays on the bag as it pops off of the dugout suite and back into the field of play. So Duran, on an error to the third baseman, reaches first. And now there's a runner on with just an out for Luke Miller.
The first baseman, number 2, Luke Miller.
Miller steps into the righty batter's box. He digs his right foot in the dirt. And over on first, Duran is being held on by Toffee. The first offering inside to Miller. It's a ball. Not sure we'll see Duran go at first unless there is some kind of wild pitch or a ball that gets past the catcher, especially with returning from the injured hamstring. And Miller chases a fastball upstairs. It's 1-1. Miller crowding the plate here. He's up close to the dish. The lefty looks over at first. Now he's going to come home, and it's too high. Miller holds off this time. It's 2 balls, 1 strike. Some scores around the league. The Iron Pigs falling right now to the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders. They're down by 3 in the top of the second. And Jersey Shore off to a late start. They were delayed by rain against the Brooklyn Cyclones. Miller chases a pitch downstairs, and it's 2-2. And of course, the Phillies playing the Nationals. They're down by 2 runs. It's only the top of the second, though. Zach Wheeler on the mound tonight for Philadelphia, and he will face off against Max Scherzer. Miller pops one foul over into the plaza area, and it'll stay 2-2. Alec Boehm in the lineup tonight. Williams and Bierling getting the night off, though we could always see them pinch hit for the pitchers later on. Looking over at first, and now coming home is Walker, but it's low, so the count is full. Walker 2-1 on the season with a 4.18 ERA. He's thrown 23 2/3 innings of work, and his last outing was his longest of the season with 7 innings. So we'll see if he can stick through long in this game. Miller sends one up the middle. The umpire Jimenez has to move to get out of the way, and it's going to be a double play as they go 4-6-3 to retire the Fightin Phils scoreless as we head into the third. It's going to be 0-0. Have had very different outings as Walker has not allowed a hit. He's faced the minimum right now, and Morales has had some traffic on the base pass, but he's still left it scoreless. So both working in different ways, but both equals right now, although Morales out on 37 pitches and Walker just 23 to get out of 2. And Morales has nabbed 3 strikeouts so far to compare to Walker's 1. So we'll see how he fares here in the third inning of work. He's back at the top of the order with Mayer, Brody, and Vientos. And the wind has died down just a little bit at the ballpark. That flag in center field swaying in the wind. And the lights are fully fledged here in Reading. I heard all around yesterday the guys had really nice off days. A lot of golfing on the radar. Some people were able to go home, which was nice. We've got a couple local guys. And that's the beauty of being only about an hour away, is that everyone got back at a decent time. As Mayer takes a first pitch ball and a second pitch strike right down the middle. Change up off the hands of Morales. The offering grazes the outside corner. It is 1-2. Middle infielders back deep with Miller just in shaded a little bit more. Mayer fouls one back, and it's 1-2. And he kicks and fires with the 1-2. He gets him to chase practically in the dirt, and he'll pick up his 4th strikeout of the afternoon. And he retires the first batter for the first time in 3 innings. A good way to start things off. And there'll be one away now for Quinn Brody. Brody walked and stole a base in his last at-bat. Morales likes to bring his gloves and his other hand completely straight overhead. Then he settles in at his face, takes a deep breath, And Brody lines this one out to left center field. Going back on the run is Madison Stokes. And he makes the catch for out number 2. A quick second out there for Francisco Morales. And now he'll face off against Mark Vientos, who he struck out in his first at-bat. Vientos was the Offensive Player of the Year for Binghamton's minor league system back in 2019, which is pretty competitive. You don't realize how many guys were in the minor leagues back in 2019, so to receive that award is pretty impressive. And he'll send a first pitch strike is Morales. He's down 0-1. Now this one's downstairs, so it's 1-1. The slider's generating a ton of swing and misses right now. And this one's chopped slowly off the bat. It's going to be fielded on the run by Tatum over to first, and he'll get the out. The first 1-2-3 inning here for Francisco Morales as he seemingly settled in. And now we're right back to some Fightin' Phil's offense here as we head into the bottom half. Bottom of the third, coming off a great outing for Francisco Morales as he takes him down 1-2-3 in the top half, and we'll see McCarthy Tatum, who made a great play to end the third, and Archimedes Gamboa, and then Morales himself here in the scoreless duel right now between both teams. Wind starting to come in from left to right, but it's blowing in now instead of out as Tatum steps in and swings the first pitch he sees. It fouls it back into the grandstand. It's 0-1. And if you didn't catch the news earlier today, former Fightin' Dylan Cousins has officially retired from professional baseball, thanking the Phillies and the Brewers for his opportunity, and instead choosing to pursue a career with the NFL. I believe he was a football player while growing up, and pretty big guy, so I imagine he'd make a stellar football player, and we wish him the best of luck in his new endeavors, and we'll see how that plays out for him. Of course, we'll be following here from his former home in Reading, and the 1-2 now to Tatum is inside, and he holds off. Cousins was a star for Reading. He holds the season all-time hits, and had a ton of home runs at the ballpark. He made good time in Reading. And Tatum fouls this one into the stands. It is 2-2. That was back in 2016 when he hit 40 home runs and 125 runs, RBIs I should say, as Tatum sends this one to second base. 4-3 in your scorebooks. That's out number 1 for Gamboa. He did have a scholarship to play football at the University of Arizona, but instead chose to pursue professional baseball, and we'll see now if football is the avenue that's going to work out for him. But it's nice to see. Trying some new endeavors. Of course, we've seen that with a couple other guys. Tim Tebow going the opposite way, first choosing football and then he chose baseball. And of course, you can't forget about Michael Jordan with the basketball baseball. And Gamboa's down 0-2 right now. He'll hold off on a pitch. And it's 1-2. This breaks his bat, sends it into the stands, and it doesn't hit anyone, which is a good thing, as someone's going to walk away with probably the greatest souvenir of all, a baseball bat. And it'll be a grounder to second, the same play, so that'll be out number 2. And it's all up to Francisco Morales here, as Walker has faced the minimum in all 3 innings so far. It's a nice shard of bat down in the stands. Lucky fan is getting a good souvenir. Morales holds off on 2 consecutive balls. It's a pitcher-pitcher matchup. And this one, it comes out outside as well. It's 3 balls, no strikes. Morales can make his way onto the base pass right now, as he does on a 4-pitch walk, and tough there for Walker, as we'll have to get back to the top of the order with Daniel Brito, who has been the guy for the Fightin' Phils, I feel like, in such a quiet way. He's got the team in average right now, 285, and in hits with 43, and in doubles with 8. He's also got a triple, and he hit his first home run back in the series against the Senators, so he has been unstoppable for Reading as of late. And now he'll step into the lefty batter's box with a runner on. This one's in the dirt, as Walker has now missed 5 straight times. Look over at first, and said he's going to come home. It's outside, it gets away from the pitcher, and Morales is able to get to second easily on a wild pitch, which is great for the Fightins, and Brito up 2-0 right now. Sean Williams giving the signs to Morales as he's out on second, and now Mayer is going to take a jog out to Walker. Have a couple seconds out there on the mound with him as the shortstop comes in to grab the rosin bag. And it looks like Walker's really explaining something to Mayer now, but he'll head back to the plate. And we'll get started again with Daniel Brito still facing a 2-0 count. Infield back deep, outfield playing straight up. Here's the pitch. Brito sends it sky high. And as Walker already almost into the dugout, the catch is made by the shortstop, Rodriguez. And that's out number 3. The Fightin' strand a runner on the base paths, and the score is tied at 0 as we head into the 4th. Well, we're tied at 0 here, heading into the top of the 4th inning. Morales stranded on the base pass after walking his first time around the bases today, or this season I should say, and he'll come back on the mound to face the heart of the order with Will Toffey, Luis Carpio, and Jake Mangum.
The grounds crew is brought to you by Deer Country Farm and Lawn.
Into the 4th. Now he's thrown 46 pitches to get out of 3, and it took Walker 40 as well. So they're about even now. It was favoring in the direction of Walker, but Morales staying strong here after getting that last 1-2-3 inning, and he struck out 4 today, so he's averaging just more than 1 per inning. And he's going to start off against Will Toffey. Lined out in his first time up. He'll swing at the first pitch, and he'll send it back to right field. Heading back at the wall is Bonifacio, and it's over the fence. And the umpire is signaling a home run. So Will Toffey has broke this scoreless reign with a solo shot over the fence in right field. And Binghamton leads 1-0. And man, Toffey must be excited. He sprinted around the base paths and back to the dugout, and the Binghamton Rumble Ponies look pretty excited here as they take a 1-0 lead. Here's Luis Carpio, and he'll take a first pitch strike. Sun is shading half the field, and half of the other part is directly in the sun, which I'm sure makes it difficult. We've seen a lot of guys covering their eyes. That was pretty no doubt off the bat of Will Toffey, so not much Bonifacio could do over and right. But it's 0-2 now as the slider misses too far down, and it's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Morales raises his gloves now. He'll settle in. Turns himself, kicks and fires home, and it's chopped over to Stott. He picks it up, makes the play, and there's out number 1.
The center fielder, number 1, Jake Mangum.
Here's Jake Mangum. Flew out to left. He's batting .217 on the season with 20 hits, although he does have 6 doubles, a triple, and a home run. He shows signs of bunt, but the pitch is low and he pulls away. It is 1 and up. Smells good here at the ballpark. You can smell the burgers cooking and the fries frying, and of course that funnel cake. And Morales will get a strike. He's ready to go, but he's waiting for Mangum to step back into the batter's box. Finally he does. And here's the 1-1. This one sent to left field. Coming in, Stokes, and he skips and makes the catch. That is out number 2.
The shortstop, number 2, Manny Rodriguez.
Here's Manny Rodriguez. He had a double in his last at-bat. Rodriguez, of course, we said before, a local guy as well from Brooklyn, New York. And it's, you know, close to the actual Mets and not too far from Binghamton, relatively. He was the player of the year for the University of Cincinnati and the highest draft pick from their team since Chicago Cubs player Ian Happ was selected in the first round a while back. And Morales gets him 0-2, and he'll strike him out swinging, picking up his 5th K of the day. And after he gives up a solo shot to right, he gets the next 3 outs in a row and will be in the bottom of the 4th now. The Fightins are down by a run. As we are in a big minor league game this year, and we've seen a couple players called up from the Phillies. Can't not mention Wander Franco being called up by the Rays, making his debut in professional baseball tonight after being one of the most highly touted prospects in all of baseball. And the first player born in 2001 to make his debut. He is 20 years old, out of the Dominican Republic. And Bryson Stott is going to lead us off in the bottom of the 4th. The Fightins are down by a run. And we'll see what they can do here with the heart of their order. Walker deals to Stott, who holds off on a pitch in the strike zone. Change up just 76 miles an hour. And it's a called strike to Stott, who's taken his time out of the batter's box now, getting a deep breath. And this one upstairs, Stott holds off. And it's 1-2. Evil Candy now roaming the stands, the first appearance of the season. If you hear a lot of background noise, Stott strikes out swinging, and that'll be out number 1 for Jorge Bonifacio. Bonifacio walks to the plate with the high socks look on tonight. And if you've noticed, he kind of rocks that the entire season. And I learned today that he is actually responsible for those pants, as he cut them and sewed them into position himself, which I think is pretty awesome. The guys are mainly issued the long pants. They can choose the shorter ones if they'd like, but most of them, you know, just kind of cut them and tuck them into their socks. But he actually went the extra mile of hemming them and sewing them together, and I think that's honestly a pretty cool skill to have. And he'll take a first pitch and second pitch ball from Walker. And there is one out here with nobody on the base pass in the bottom of the fourth. So Fightin's trail by just a run. And this pitch grazes the inside part of the strike zone. It is 2-1. Infield back deep here for Bonifacio. He's got a gap up the middle. And we'll see what he can do at a pitch by Walker. Sends this one the other way. I think it's going to end up out of the field of play, even though Toffee hustling over from first. It lands in the right field grandstand. And the count evens 2-2. And just saw a video during the half of the Phillies being checked against the foreign substances policy now. And Bonifacio sends this one up in the sky. It's going to remain in foul territory, and making the catch is Toffee, so that's out number 2. And the Phillies obviously playing the Nationals right now, so they're checking out Max Scherzer. He looks very disgruntled, like kind of holding his arms open because they're checking arms, gloves, and hat. And he looks pretty angry. And then the next, he obviously doesn't have anything on him. The next half inning, though, Bryce Harper comes up and hits an absolute bomb off of him, his 9th home run of the season, out to right field. And the Phillies are down by a run now in the top of the 3rd. So here's Madison Stokes, who takes a called strike inside. Fightin's only down by a run here in the bottom of the 4th, and Stokes pops one over to right center field, but making the catch there is Brody, and the Fightins go 3 up, 3 down in this half inning, and it's back to work for Morales in the top of the 5th. The Fightins trail by just a run. Top of the 5th inning, and Morales does come out for another inning of work, so this is officially his longest start, as he's already gone a complete 4, and we'll see if he can work his way into the 5th. He's had 57 pitches, Walker 51. I do see some light stretching in the bullpen, but I think if he's able to get through this one cleanly, they'll let him go, as we've seen about 85, I think 88 was the top number of pitches I've seen by a Fightin so far this series, but they are getting a longer leash as long as they're, you know, still showcasing their stuff. So we'll see how it works out, as the first person he's going to face is the pitcher, Josh Walker, who fouls one back and gets a strike. Walker chases one and misses. He struck out in his first at-bat. Now he's down 0-2. And the starters for the Fightin' Phils have really settled in, as Walker strikes out for the 2nd time today. That's the 3rd K so far for Morales, making him up to 39 on the season. It was the bullpen that was really carrying the team in the first half, and now with Josh Hendrickson and Jack Perkins added to the roster, Mark Appel and MacArthur looking solid, and here comes Morales down the stretch. They've allowed for a number of scoreless innings pitched, and really not a lot of hits as Appel, just allowing 1 hit, MacArthur just 3, Perkins 4, and Hendrickson only had 3 hits as well. The 1-0 now to Cortez is 2-0 with a ball. So it's really nice to see these starters come into their own, and that'll help the bullpen, because now they'll be able to settle into their role later on in the game. And here's the 2-0 to Cortez. This one shot out to left. It's going to go foul. Will it stay in the field of play? It doesn't, although Stokes hustling nicely over, and it is 2-1. talking to Stokes today about, you know, how good it feels to come back from a successful road trip and get to play in front of the fans. And he says, you know, the fans here have been absolutely amazing. He's only, you know, we've only been, you know, reaching our capacity as of late, and it's been really nice to have them fill the ballpark and support the teams. He said even just what he's seen so far has been, you know, really exhilarating to play in front of. And the support, I think, to these guys really makes such a difference than playing, you know, in some of those ballparks away, whether they be empty or just filled with, you know, that team's fans. It's really nice to come back and get that sense of home here at America's Classic Ballpark. Here's the 2-2 now, and Cortez chases one in the dirt. Duran picks it up and tags him, and that's 3 straight strikeouts for Morales as he records 2 outs in the top of the 5th. And we'll see if he can go ahead and get Nick Mayer out to get another 1-2-3 inning. He's only given up 4 hits and a run. That was the home run back in the 4th. Mayer 0 for 2 today. And he sends this one a hard hit liner into the stands. It trickles down closer to the field, and a lucky fan is going to go home with a souvenir.
You almost knocked that cameraman right off the platform.
This one upstairs, and it's 1-1. Mayer chops another one foul, this one into the plaza area over by the T-Mobile stage, and he's down 1-2. And the righty kicks and fires home. This one just misses the corner as the Fightin's defense thought they had it. Both Tatum and Stott started walking towards the dugout. That's how much confidence they have in Morales right now. And he will take a deep breath. Time is called by the batter, who steps out of the box. Kind of frustrating when they do that so late in the bat, but I know it's so they try to throw off the pitcher, and the pitchers do the same thing. They try to throw off the batters as well. So you see it on both ends as it comes outside to Mayer, and it is a full count now as Morales going for out number 3 in a row as he struck the first 2 out in the top of the 5th. And he gets him to chase a ball in the dirt. It gets by Duran. He sets up and fires. It gets under the glove of Luke Miller, and around first coming into second is the batter Mayer, and it was a strikeout on a wild pitch that got away from Duran, and he'll get an error as the runner advances to second. And a tough way for Morales. He kind of struck out the side there, but didn't. And occasionally we see this happen, and then the pitcher is able to get 4 strikeouts in a half inning. So I guess that could really work for Morales if he's able to notch another strikeout in this half inning. But there'll be a runner on second now for Quinn Brody. The first offering is in the dirt. And we'll see if Morales is able to remain composure here in kind of a pickle that he didn't exactly cause, which is always tough. You want to be on your teammates' side. Not blaming each other for errors, but just working to get the next out. And Morales has him 1-1. Here's the pitch. It's lined into the dugout. And lots of guys down there from the Phillies tonight. Their developmental staff, a bunch of guys that rove around giving special instruction to the team. They've added another athletic training intern to help out with a bunch of these players on the roster, and the 1-2 now. He gets to chase him, and so he did it. He gets 4 strikeouts in the half inning. A big pickup there for Morales to remain composed with the runners on. And Rumble Ponies have a 1-0 lead as we head into the bottom of the 5th. We'll see what the Fightins can do now. Walker coming out for another inning of work. He's kept the Fightins hitless through 4. And if the Fightins don't strike soon, this is going to show up as no-hitter on my screen, which I don't want to see that. And I don't think you guys want to either. As Duran lets go of a pitch outside, it's 1-1. Walker standing tall on the mound to Duran, who's only 5'9", and he'll foul one back. So it is 1 ball, 2 strikes. Duran says he feels good now after spending some time rehabbing from his injury, and they really took the time to make sure he was in good shape, as he's a top prospect in the organization, the 19th prospect, and he tips one into the ground, so it'll stay at 1-2. There's someone warming up in the Fightins bullpen right now, and Duran holds off on a pitch in the dirt. It's 2-2. I can't quite see who's down there, but I'm sure they'll let me know eventually, or we'll see when he comes in together, probably in the top of the 6th. Not sure they're going to let Morales go more than 5 since he hasn't gone more than 3 so far. This one popped foul. Coming over is the catcher, Mayer, but it lands in the stands. And a Boy Scout gets it. And he tosses it to a nice job. That was nice of him. And Duran holds off on a pitch close to the strike zone, and he's worked his way back to a full count right now. And it would be good if he can get the leadoff runner on the base pass, and he chases one low inside. He's able to flip his hands to make contact, and it ropes foul. So the count remains 3-2. And he sends this one deep to left field, coming over Mangum, and he makes the catch in left center. And what turns out is a long at-bat does not fall in the favor of Rodolfo Duran. So that's out number 1 here for Luke Miller. Fightins out in their royal blue Throwback Tuesday tops. They've got the white sleeves and, of course, the blue R-Train caps that you know and love, and they're in the white home pants. Binghamton is out. They kind of look like Erie's jerseys, I'll be honest, in their road gray pants and red-pink jerseys. So I have to get the official color from their broadcaster tomorrow. They have black and white stripes down the side, and they're wearing a black cap with the Rumble Ponies logo on the front. Miller falls behind 0-2 right now. And here's the offering by Walker. He's able to get a piece of it and pop it foul. Warming up, Kyle Dowie. in the bullpen. He's been scoreless so far in relief. He's gone longer and shorter outings as Miller takes one in and up. And did he go around? He did, says the first base umpire Jimenez. So that'll be strike number 3. And there's 2 quick outs for Reading here as McCarthy Tatum comes in. Got to break up the no-hitter sometime as we're getting ready to go through 5. Tatum fouls off the first pitch he sees. It's 0-1 now with 2 outs in the bottom of the 5th. We get to the halfway point in this game. The Fightins trail by just a run. It was that solo shot earlier in the 4th by Will Toffey. And Tatum sends a sharp one to the second baseman. He recovers it though and picks it up and fires it to first. Another 1-2-3 inning for Walker as down go the Fightins. They fail to score a run. Top of the 6th. The score is Binghamton 1, Reading 0. Well, we get a call to the Alvernia University Golden Wolves bullpen as Francisco Morales' day is done. His best outing of the season by a wide margin, and also his longest outing as he goes 5 innings of work, just allows 4 hits and 1 earned run. It was that homer. And he strikes out 9, which was a season high for Morales, bringing his total strikeout count for the season to 41. And he threw 75 pitches total. And Kyle Doey's going to come in and take the ball in relief. Doey's been stellar so far since getting transferred over to Reading. And he's been scoreless in all of his appearances. He'll face off against the cleanup hitter in Mark Vientos. And in his last outing, Doey threw a clean 1. No hits, no runs, no walks. He's been 3 for 3 in scoreless appearances. He's seen time in Reading back in 19 and a few games in 2018, so he knows the park well. And Vientos makes a good contact. Going back at the wall is Gamboa, and it's a solo shot from Vientos to make the score 2-0 here in the top of the 6th, as Vientos absolutely crushes one over the fence in center field. That is his 8th home run of the season. That's a team high for Binghamton, as he's competing with Carlos Cortez, who has 7. And 2 solo shots for Binghamton has put them on top 2-0 here in the top of the 6th. Here's Will Toffey, the other home run hitter. He shows signs of bunt but pulls back on a ball. Count 1-1 now to Toffey. The sky is looking gorgeous out over the mountains as the sun begins to set here in Reading. And he chases on a 1-1, and it's 1-2. And this one he sends to right center field, hustling over Bonifacio on the run, and he makes the catch now for out number 1.
The second baseman, number 19, Luis Carpio.
Here's Luis Carpio. Doey, the lefty, to Morales' righty, leans over here to face Carpio. He sends the first pitch home. It's fouled back. Doey began his stint with Reading this season on June 9th. On the run, McCarthy Tatum across the diamond, and man, has he looked good over at third today. That's the second time he's made the play on the run. And things are really coming together in the field for the Fightins as well. Everyone looks solid defensively, and less mistakes being made as the season goes along. 2 away now for Jake Mangum. And after that leadoff homer from Vientos, it seems like Dowie has settled in pretty well here at the ballpark. And Mangum sends this one to Tatum. Once again across the diamond, a perfect throw. And that's 3 straight down for Dowie after he gives up that leadoff home run. He retires the next 3 in order. It's 2-0 Binghamton as we head into the bottom of the 6th. Fightin still looking for their first hit here today as we get to the bottom of the 6th inning. And Walker comes out for another inning of work. He'll face off with Gamboa, probably a pinch hitter, and then Daniel Brito as there's someone warming up in the pen, and I see Salgazzo down there, so I would imagine that Kyle Dowie's off after 1. And as he exited the game, we did see the umpires come out and check his arms, glove, and hat for any substances, and it was nice that Sean Williams came out and stood beside him as that was going on. Kind of nice to see that support from your coach and to make sure everything's going on professionally. I'm sure the guys are much appreciative of that, and of course this is really the umpire's first time doing it as well here in the minor leagues. Walker has him down 0-2 now, Gamboa. And pops it foul. Gazzo returning to the team after being on Reading's roster twice so far this season and not recording an at-bat, so we'll see if he'll finally get to do it here today. He spent most of his time up in Lehigh Valley where he's played very well, and Gamboa slams one up the third base line, but it's called foul. And Sean Williams having a quick chat with the umpire Jimenez over there. But Gamboa heading back to the plate. It'll remain 0-2. Beautiful cotton candy sky surrounding the ballpark today, especially nice with all these cumulus clouds, I believe they're called. Maybe I'll tweet out a picture for you guys. And Gamboa takes one way over high as Walker just lost his grip. And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes as Gamboa remains firm after falling behind 0-2. And he swings and chases one low and away for out number 1 as Walker records his 4th strikeout. And we will see Gazzo right now. After he has been on the roster twice, he joins the stat sheet here in Double-A. And he's been very nice to get to know. Got to meet him on Media Day back on May 4th. He's just picked up as a free agent, or signed as an undrafted free agent back in 2019. And he takes a called strike. It's 0-1. Walker deals. He goes for bunt, puts a beautiful one down the third base line on the run. It's fielded by Vientos, and he gets the play over at first. He did a fantastic job defensively. A great bunt off the bat there of Salgazzo. And, you know, it just didn't work out from there. Maybe a little bit too much off the bat, but really a good bunt right down the line. And Vientos just made a stellar defensive play while Toffee with the split over at first. And that'll leave things up to Daniel Brito, who's going to start, who's going to be back at the top of the order. Fouls off the first pitch he sees onto the roof. Wind starting to pick up here in Baseball Town, one of the cooler nights at the ballpark thus far. Nationals have a 3-1 lead over the Phillies in the fourth. And of course, games going on with the affiliates. Jersey Shore up 7-0 over the Brooklyn Cyclones as Brito holds off on a pitch in the dirt. Scranton has a 5-0 lead off of Lehigh Valley. They're in the top of the fifth. And Brito with a 1-2 count. Here's the offering from Walker. He sends it right up the middle. A diving Carpio comes up with it and over to first. An impressive defensive play for the Rumble Ponies. Here in the bottom of the sixth, the Fightins go down 1-2-3 for the third inning in a row. And thus far, Josh Walker has no hit Reading.
And now everyone can enjoy some original splits.
Well, we've silently made it into the seventh inning here in Baseball Town as the Fightins trail by 2 runs, and it's going to be Brian Marconi who comes out in relief of Doey. Now, we knew that because Gazzo had come into pinch hit back in the bottom half of the sixth, and he allowed that solo shot to make it 2-0. The only hit he gave up, and he did the inning on 10 pitches. So we'll see what Brian Marconi has to offer here in the top of the seventh as we merge slowly into the back half of this game. And he's going to face off against Manny Rodriguez. We'll see if Josh Walker comes out for another inning of work. He's only on 79 pitches, so we might see him go for another one. The bunt laid down by Rodriguez, and it rolls foul. It's 0-1.
You don't pay me to bunt.
Marconi's last outing, very solid. 2 innings of work, just 2 hits, no runs, and he struck out 1. He's 7 for 10. In scoreless appearances, so 70% of the time he comes out. He does not give up a run. In 2019, he was in short season, and he's already made it up to Double-A in just his second season of professional baseball. And he sends 2 straight outside to Manny Rodriguez now. And the lefty deals a swing and a miss. Beautiful pitch downstairs. It's 2-2. Rodriguez sends it up the middle. Brito coming over to get it, but he's not able to. So Rodriguez will start this half inning off with a single, and it will be Josh Walker who comes out to bat now with a runner on and nobody out here in the top of the seventh. Walker 0 for 2 today with 2 strikeouts. Those are his only outings thus far. He's had a tough road, and he's really shined this season, and it stood out a lot as he goes for a bunt, and it hits him in the face. Did he bunt that into his face? Out coming is the trainer, and he's down on the ground. He pops up, he's trying to walk it off, and he was hit in the face there by Marconi. Tough because he really leaned into it. And he'll walk down to first. Everyone clapping now, and it looks like they're going to wave to the bullpen to get started. And he's walking it off, and they're going to take him out of the game, I think. He wants to stay in the game. They're looking at him. He's walking around. He's being followed by the trainer and his manager. And he kind of leaned into the hit by pitch, which is tough there because he was hit in the face, but he also leaned into the pitch. And Marconi looked absolutely stunned and just in pure horror when you could hear the gasp in the crowd when it smacked him. and he's getting his bat out. So he's going to remain at the plate because you got to get out of the way, unfortunately. And he was trying to lean in for the bunt, which is tough. That's a tough situation to be in. And he keeps pacing around. You know how you pace when you're trying to walk off an injury? He looks a little flustered. I think he's mad that he's got to continue his bat instead of going down to first. And I'm pretty impressed. Seen a lot of guys hitting the head in the major leagues. Kevin Pillar with the Mets, and of course Bryce Harper was hit in the face. It kind of reminds me of the time that Max Scherzer, I think it was Max Scherzer, was taking BP and fouled one off of his face. And he was able to keep going. He stuck right in there. He had a black eye, I think, and he stuck right in there. The trainer's asking some questions now to Walker. Just routine stuff to make sure he's okay. And the athletic trainer, Lauren Klein, I believe that is, heads back into the dugout. And it seems like Walker is okay. He's answering some questions from the umpire, motioning the bunt sign with his bat. And it seems like he's okay to stay in the game, which is pretty impressive considering the work he's doing out on the mound, which I didn't get a chance to tell you about, so I'll do it now. So back in 2019, he was a late pick in the draft, and he was drafted in the 37th round back in 2017, And then in 2019, he was in a very bad car accident, so he didn't get to play for most of the season. And there's an argument going on. I think the manager, Lorenzo Bundy, is very upset that he's not able to walk out to first, if that is the manager who's over on third. Tough to tell here. I don't really know these guys. Nope, it's the bench coach that's having such an argument. It's Joe Rakuya. And the manager's just out there strolling around. Did Rakuya get ejected now as he's heading back into the dugout? And there's got to be a coach on third. He must have. Now as somebody else is coming out to be the bench coach at third. And this is a very eventful half inning. So I think they were upset because Walker is not able to take first. And he'll have to keep batting after being hit in the face. And they did eject Rakuya as he's heading back into the clubhouse. Taking a lead off of first is Rodriguez. And interesting enough, Walker goes for the bunt again. This time he bunts it foul. And so it's 0-2, I imagine. Not going to go for the bunt attempt at all now. And now someone is coming out to talk to Walker. I think it's the actual trainer. That was the assistant trainer, Lauren Klein, we saw earlier. This is Kiyoshi Tada, the trainer, coming out to talk to Walker. And I'm surprised they're letting him stay in the game after being hit in the face. I wonder if it has something to do with the fact that he's just pitching so tremendously right now. I know a lot of these guys don't like to be taken out. And how could you when you're pitching like that? But they're talking to him at the plate right now. The umpire, Tanner Moore, is in there. And over at first still is Manny Rodriguez after singling. And Brian Marconi stuck awkwardly on the mound. Middle infielders Stout and Brito were talking. The first pause, Bonifacio was over having a conversation with Gamboa. But now everyone's spread out. And Durant coming down to talk with Marconi. Seems like this kind of situation, you know, you want to see the guys play. You want to see them, you know, not be hurt. I don't wish that upon anyone. But you got to make a decision here. Is he in or is he out? Because, you know, this is going on the second delay. The second delay right now. And they do have someone warming up in the pen. And it looks like they're going to take him out now. So they're going to have the pitcher. They're going to have someone come in to bat as they take him out. They'll have to come in with an 0-2 count. And he gets the cheers of his teammates. So his stat line for the pitching is going to be finalized. And we'll see if they bring in a pitcher here to bat whoever they want to pitch in the next half inning, or they'll go with a pinch hitter right now and then sub the pitcher in the next half inning. There's definitely a storm going on over the mountains, I can see, but there is a beautiful cotton candy sky that's settling over right field. Now I'm going to tweet it out for you because it is tremendous. And it's really over right field, so the picture is going to angle that way. And they're taking their time to see who's going to come out into... There's someone warming in the pen. Are they not just going to bring him out? I don't know what's going on here. It's taking quite a while. And they finally got whoever they want to bat out. If he turns around, I'll see his jersey, and then I'll know. It looks like number 15, Jake Ortega, who's a backup catcher. He was just called up today, I believe, to the Binghamton roster, and he's going to get his first at-bat here due to a tough go from the pitcher. Yep, Jake Ortega assigned to Binghamton today. He was drafted in the 28th round back in 2019. This is his first time in AA ball. He's 24 years old, out of California, and they're going to get Marconi to get a couple warm-up pitches in right now. And we'll see if we can not pick up this half inning, as it's been slow rolling. We're really moving through this game, and we hit it sort of a snag, but we're grateful that Josh Walker is okay, and he will not continue in this game. So with a runner on first, Marconi is still up, and Ortega has to take over that 0-2 count. He sends it high in the sky, but coming over Gamboa Bonifacio, it's Gamboa in right center field, and that will retire Ortega here for a first out in the 7th, and we'll head back to the top of their lineup with Carlos Corres. Cortez 1 for 3 today with a pair of strikeouts. He'll take a first pitch strike from Marconi now with a runner on first and one away. Marconi goes with a pickoff attempt, but Rodriguez really isn't off of first at all. Infield, outfield playing straight up right now. Marconi leaning over. He gets the sign from Duran, and he'll send this one home. It's a strike. Heading down to second is Rodriguez, and a throw to the left of the bag by Duran, but it's played on well by Stott, and they get Rodriguez stealing second. That's a big out pickup there for Brian Marconi. The throw was to the left from Duran, but Stott able to grab it and make the tag because Duran got such a good jump on Rodriguez, who got a late start, an interesting steal, and a job well done by the Fightin's defense to erase a runner on the base pass. And now there's 2 outs, nobody on. And they count 2-1 to Cortez. Just a little bit low, and it's 3 balls, 1 strike. Marconi deals. This one chopped foul, and the count is full. Marconi staying in this at-bat solidly.
The safety nets are provided thanks to Access Industries and Safety Edge.
And this one sent over to right field. It goes over the head of Miller. Rounding first is Cortez, but he's going to stay put at first with a base hit and 2 outs in the top of the 7th. Binghamton has a runner on. Now, they could have had 2 runners on, probably runners on the corners. if Rodriguez didn't get thrown out stealing. And now you see why that was such a big pickup there for Duran and Stott, because there would have been runners in scoring position with just one out. And it's a different work here for Marconi as he faces off against Nick Mayer. Mayer's been on base twice. He struck out but reached on a wild pitch. This one to the glove of Tatum. He'll go for the easy out to Burrito at second. And Mayer grounds out into that fielder's choice. So the Fightins retire the Rumble Ponies in the top of the 7th. And you'll stretch at home. We'll stretch here at the ballpark. And we'll be back for some Fightins offense. They trail by 2. Well, bottom of the 7th, the Fightins are looking to get some offense, and they're going to face off a different pitcher this half inning. Josh Walker had no hit them first through the first 6, but he was removed after getting hit in the face and then trying to fight through his at-bat, but he was not able to. And they pinch hit for him, so we're going to get a new pitcher. And we'll get to the final line on Walker in a second. It's going to be Mitchell, Andrew Mitchell, that comes out in relief with the call to the Alvernia University Golden Wolves bullpen. And he'll face off against Stott, Bonifacio, and Stokes, so the heart of the Reading order. And Stott makes contact with it. It's a foul ball in foul territory, and the catcher makes the out, so a quick out for Stott. And here's Jorge Bonifacio. Walker's final line, 6 innings of work. He did not give up a hit, as you know. He walked 1 and recorded 4 strikeouts for a total of 79 pitches. So I'm not sure really how much longer they would have let him go if he hadn't gotten hit. Usually guys are not completing full games nowadays with just the limiting of the pitch count load. So it would have probably had to be combined anyways. And here's Jorge Bonifacio now. Mitchell sends one low, and it is 1-0. Bottom of the 7th, the Fightins trail by 2 runs. Binghamton has 7 hits. The Fightins have none, and they both made an error in the field. Here's the offering by Mitchell. It's low. Mitchell has transferred back and forth from first out of the pen to last out of the pen. He's been kind of all around as Bonifacio fouls one back. And we see him first out of the gate right now. He's been hot and cold for Binghamton. And he fouls one back. This one is out of play. Tonight's PSECU attendance is presented by Pennsylvania Federal Credit Institution. Their current attendance, 4,134. The official attendance tonight presented by PSECU, the largest credit union in Pennsylvania. So the count is now full to Jorge Bonifacio. And we'll see if he can get on base. Fightins have not had anyone on since the 3rd. It was a walk. This is a scorching liner up the third base side, and it is foul. And if he could just rope that a little bit right, that'll be a base hit for sure. And he sends this one instead high in the sky, going back. Corpio coming in is Brody, and he makes the catch in right center field to record the second out here in the bottom of the 7th.
Madison Stokes.
Here's Madison Stokes trying to get something going here for the Fightins as they are in the back half of this game. 0 for 2 today with a pop out and a fly out. He's having trouble righting the ball as it keeps going to the right side of the infield. He keeps poking it the opposite way, and he's having trouble pulling it. But when he does pull it, it almost always results in an extra base hit. Took a first pitch ball, and he'll chase a changeup downstairs. It's 1-1 with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 7th. And this one's in the dirt. It's 2-1. Fightin's home game tomorrow night, 7 o'clock p.m. here at First Energy Stadium, but the same on Thursday and Friday. Saturday's a 6:45 start, Sundays a 5:15. As Stokes takes one inside, he holds off. It's 3 balls and 1 strike. And this one sent right into the glove of the shortstop, Rodriguez, over to first. And a nice stretch there by Toffee gets the job done. And the Fightins go down 1, 2, 3 for the 4th inning in a row. They're not able to get anyone on the base path, so we head into the
Now batting for the Rumble Ponies, the right fielder number
Well, we head into the
24.
top of the 8th, and the Rumble Ponies retain their 2-0 lead. Marconi does come out for another inning of work. He held them scoreless back in the top of the 7th, although he'd allow some base runners to reach. He knocked them shut, and he'll get a swinging strike out of Quinn Brody, who's 0 for 2 today with a walk and a stolen base. And he sends one over into foul territory. He's going to land in the 67th club. And so nobody's able to make work of it. He's down 0-2 now to Marconi quickly. And Marconi fires with the 0-2. It's just low. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And it's a strike 3, a loud call from Tanner Moore behind the plate. And the Fightins pick up another strikeout to their name.
The third baseman, number 13, Mark Vientos.
Here's Mark Vientos. He had that home run and 1 for 3 on the day. The Fightins have struck out 10 Binghamton batters, and they've only struck out 4 times at the plate. Their 9-inning high is 18 strikeouts as Marconi sends one home. It's fouled back by Vientos, and it's 1-1.
Thanks to Safety Ed, the safety nets are provided by Access Industries.
Vientos, the number 8 prospect in the top 30 for the for the Mets, I should say. He was drafted just before his 18th birthday out of the same high school as Eric Hosmer was. And he chose to go to Major League Baseball over the University of Miami. This one a heater into the dugout. Looks like everyone's able to get out of the way in time. And he falls behind 1-2. Now, obviously, he's a lot of minor league experience, so he got to spend 2020 at the alt site, so he got some extra practice, and he sends this one a bullet to left field. It's going to bounce off the wall, and Stokes makes a great recovery. Coming into second, here's the throw, and they got him! Daniel Brito able to make the tag, and Madison Stokes played that beautifully off the left field wall. and a perfect throw to Daniel Brito at second. They tagged Vientos out as he was trying to take two. And man, those outfield assists racking up for the Fightins. That's going to be recorded as a single, and then an out at second, 7-4, thanks to Madison Stokes over there to erase what would be a runner. And it's a big pickup with 2 outs now for Will Toffee. And Toffee falls behind 0-2. Here's the pitch by Marconi. It's a strike called 3. That is the 11th strike pick out here by the Fightins, and Marconi sits him down 1-2-3 to bring the Fightins back up to bat. They're going to start off with the middle part of their order. They're down by 2. To the bottom of the 8th we go. Bottom of the 8th inning, we're running out of baseball here at First Energy Stadium. The Fightins trying to get on the base and record their first hit. It's going to be Rodolfo Duran who leads us off here in the bottom half. Marconi did a nice job of getting out of the top of the 8th clean. And Duran settles into the batter's box. Here's the first offering. It's a called strike from Mitchell. Duran squatting low in the batter's box. He takes a called strike. Reached on an error back in the second. And he's looking for a base hit to continue his on-base streak. And this one loops just too high. And it's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Mitchell sends one home. Duran digs for it in the dirt, but he's not able to come up with it. And it's a strikeout to begin the bottom of the 8th inning.
Number 2, Luke Miller.
Here's Luke Miller now. Grounded into a double play and struck out. He had a great series against Harrisburg, and he came back super excited about that. He was, really happy about his home run, team leading 8th of the season. And here's the pitch. He chases it low. It's 0-1 with 1 out. Someone warming up in the Fightins bullpen. And all the bullpen guys are standing and watching. Probably the coldest night we've had in June so far, as it's down into the low 60s. We've really had a heat wave going on with it up in the 90s. And today it's cooled off with all that rain and storms. And still lots of kids out in the pool as Miller fouls one into the plaza. Heated. I want to say it's like 86 degrees in the pool over there, so it's got to be beautiful. There's also 2 hot tubs. That is the place to be tonight. It's 0-2 now to Miller. He holds off on a pitch upstairs. A good take. Looks like the weather for the rest of the week is going to be beautiful. If you get a chance to come out to the ballpark, I encourage you guys to do so. And Miller sends this one deep to left center field. Is it going to drop in front of Magna? But he makes a diving play to record the out. A beautiful outfield play there by the center fielder. And Miller is robbed of what surely would have been an extra base hit. And so now there's 2 outs in the 8th for McCarthy Tatum. Tatum holds off on the first pitch, but it's a called strike. There's 2 outs now in the bottom of the 8th. The Fightins down by 2. Binghamton has had 8 hits. They've had none. And both teams have made an error in the field. The lefty Mitchell kicks and fires. Tatum sends this one deep to left, going back. Mangum, and he makes the catch in center field on the warning track. And it's just unlucky there for the Fightins as they go down 1, 2, 3 for the 5th time in a row. And it's all down here to.
And tonight's winning 50-50 ticket number is 1197722.
Well, Brian Marconi's day is done as we have a call to the Alvernia University Golden Wolves bullpen. Marconi came in for 2 innings of relief, gave up 3 hits and no runs across. He also recorded 2 strikeouts and no walks on 28 pitches, where he threw 28 strikes, so pretty good ratio there. And Zach Warren will come in to close out the 9th. Of course, the Fightins will get to bat in the bottom half, and so that will be hopefully successful for them in the bottom of the 9th. But first, Zach Warren has to retire 3 batters here in the top of the 9th to put the Fightin' Phils back up. They're going to be in the bottom part of their order when they do return with Gamboa. I'm certain a pinch hitter, and then Daniel Brito. Who's left on the bench, you might ask, as the first offering comes in now to Luis Carpio. It's 1-0 as the Fightins are down by 2 runs here. Left on the bench is Logan Landed, the new guy that they picked up from the American Association, Josh Stephen, and a catcher, Jack Connolly. Usually don't like to use your catcher to pinch hit because then you've got no one else left on the bench in case of an emergency. You know what, if it's tied and then he gets injured and then there's no one else to play. As Carpio fouls one into the stand, it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. And some pitchers got some good bats too. You know, they could always pinch hit Jack Perkins. They could always throw in James MacArthur in there. You know, we've seen position players pitch. Now we should see pitchers come to bat. There's got to be a one-liner out there on that. I'll think about it. So the lefty Warren setting up on the rubber. He kicks and fires home, and he gets a swinging strike out of Carpio. Duran places the tag, and that's out number 1 here in the top of the 9th. Another strikeout for the Fightin' Phils pitching staff. That is 12 on the day. And here's Jake Mangum. And I'm not exactly sure what is going on in the Phillies game, but I just got an update that Joe Girardi got ejected in the top of the 6th. The Phillies are down by 2. Evan's going to get me some information about that, I bet. And this a liner back to the pitcher. Warren, a choppy throw over to first, but a nice pickup by Miller. And there's out number 2. Very intrigued here. Anyways, the rest of the affiliates, Jersey Shore still leading 7-5 over the Cyclones, though they're making a comeback in the top of the 6th, that game is. And in the middle of the 6th, Lehigh Valley has scored a run, but it's 7-1. Scranton Rail Riders. There's 2 away now for Zach Warren here in the top of the 9th, and he pitches a strike upstairs, 93 on the gun to Manny Rodriguez. And Warren just looking to retire the side so the Fightins get back to bat. This pitch is in the dirt. Good block there by Duran. They've been walked off 3 times this season, walked off against. And they've lost walk-offs once in May and twice in June, including one time when we were at the Senators. And that happened in the bottom of the 10th, though. It's not like in hockey where you get a point for being tied, even if you lose. No points if it goes into extras and you lose. It's just a regular loss. And Warren now with the 2-1 is a called strike, so he's 1 strike away. From getting out of the top of the 9th and letting the Fightins get back to bat. Warren working strong now. Here's the offering, it's in the dirt, and it's going to be a full count now to Rodriguez. Warren has thrown 10 pitches, 5 of them strikes. And he's already gotten the first 2 batters out that he's faced. It's a full count pitch now, though. And here's the payoff. It's fouled back, so we'll do it again. Lots of fans still left in the stands, even though it's cold here in Reading. And we think of it as cold, it's funny, when we've had 90-degree weather days. If we were to get a 60-degree weather day in like April, we would all be like stunned at how nice it was. But it's funny how it circles back when you get used to the warm weather. Here's the payoff pitch again. It's chopped up, coming in. Tatum, can he do it? He does it. And that'll be a 1-2-3 inning for Zach Warren, as the Fightins have really flashed the leather in the field as we head into the bottom of the 9th. It's rally time. Fightins fans, they're down by just 2 runs. It's rally time, Fightins fans, here at America's Classic Ballpark. Now they're down by 2 runs, and they haven't had a walk-off this season, so they are due for 1. They're going to start things off with Archimedes Gamboa. It looks like Logan Landon, if I get his first and last name correct, Logan Landon is on deck. It took me a while to get McCarthy Tatum, but now I'm really settled into that, so we'll get into Logan Landon. And then we'll be back to the top of the order with Daniel Brito. There's 3 outs now, and they trail by 2 runs. Andrew Mitchell is going to come in for the next half inning of work. And if we have a second, I'll talk about Joe Girardi's ejection, as Gamboa checks his swing, but he foul tips it. It's 0-1. So he was ejected after Max Scherzer struck out Real Muto, and he was staring down at Girardi. And what had happened earlier was Girardi asked for Scherzer to get checked for his foreign substances, and he was clean for the second time that game. And Girardi was upset about the whole taunting thing. But what I find interesting is that before the game, Girardi said, "I won't check, because that seems unsportsmanlike to me." So I don't know if I hold the whole story here. It seems like kind of going around in circles. I don't think coaches and managers should be allowed to ask to check. I think that should be dutifully of the umpires. That seems like it gets a little bit, too much, too back and forth. And here's the 1-2. Gamboa sends it high in the sky, but coming in, Mangum in center field, and he makes the catch for out number 1. But got to look some more into it. Hard to tell right off the bat here. I know we just got started with this whole testing of things and checking guys out. So, obviously respect Girardi as a manager and what he's done for the team of Philadelphia. So just got to see how that works itself out. I'm sure it's a learning experience for everyone. And Wander Franco has hit a home run in his first hit in the big leagues. Now he walked in his first at-bat, and now he hits a home run. And what a debut for the top prospect in Tampa. Love to see when that happens to guys. Obviously loved when Matt Vierling had a hit in his first at-bat, when Luke Williams was able to walk it off. So here's Logan Landon now. He was picked up as a minor league free agent on the 20th and added to Reading's roster today out of the American Association. And he was affiliated with the Dodgers before. He said he was shocked when he got the call that the Phillies, wanted him here. They asked him, "Oh, you have interest. Do you want to go?" And he was like, "Yes, of course. Of course I want to go." So here he is at Reading. He seems super excited. He'll bring kind of a veteran presence to the ballpark. And the Fightins need some noise here to rally. The count 1-2 here to Landon Langdon, and he'll send it a pop-up. Hopefully it'll go out of the field of play. It's going to stay in as Toffee comes over, and he makes the catch, and shaking his head is Landon. as he heads back into the dugout. All hope rests on the shoulders of Daniel Brito.
Daniel Brito.
He's definitely a guy you'd want up in this situation. He's 0 for 3. As we mentioned before, he's not a guy that doesn't report a hit. He has had just 9 games out of the 43, including today that we've played. Okay, so let's say 42, so Sunday. 9 games out of 42 that he has not recorded a hit, and 12 games where he has recorded multi-hit games. So more times has he hit more than once than not at all, which is a really impressive stat, very consistent at the plate. And he sends this one up to the second baseman, Carpio, over to first, and the Rumble Ponies are elated as they pitch a no-hitter to the Fightins here, a combined no-no. It's Josh Walker and Andrew Mitchell. And you saw greatness here at the ballpark, whether you're here for the Rumble Ponies or you're here for the Fightins. You know, don't like to be no-hit, but, you know, cool to witness such history, I should say, here in Reading. Don't see single guys here at a no-no. Usually it's combined one nowadays with pitch counts and things like that, but with the combination of Josh Walker and Andrew Mitchell, they no-hit the Fightins and they take this game 2-0. So Rumble Ponies take game 1. We'll be back tomorrow night to face on the Rumble Ponies game number 2, 7:05. Thanks for joining us, Fightins fans.